What are some good first date questions to get to know someone? What are some things our parents don't know about you? In an emergency, how many third graders could you fight off? I knew this would be a shit show when I didn't see the serious tag lol. What's the largest mammal you think you could knock out with a single punch? The irony of all these hilarious answers is that you could probably use literally any of these questions on a first date and they'd most likely laugh, which by nature makes them good questions to ask even though they're intended to be bad ones. ITT joke answers are meta AF. Will you marry me? Edit. Classic schmosby. Why are you gay? Using Ugandan accent. Have you ever had a dream that you had to, you could, you do, you wit, you wa, you could do so, you do, you could, you wanted them to do you so much you could do anything? On our first date, my husband and I did a thing where one of us would choose a year G, then we'd both say what we were doing in that year of our lives. It was a great way to get to know each other. If their name is an uncommon one, make sure you ask what's the correct pronunciation. Literally the first thing I said to my husband on our first date was, "Hello," followed by a butchered attempt to say his name. He replied, "What did you just call me?" And up until that moment, I had never before felt the urge to jump into the nearby creek in mid-February. Which vegetable offends you the most? Favorite dinosaur? Which side were you rooting for in WW2? Do you have any outstanding warrants? I take it you're trying to date and are nervous? Honestly, there is no rule book questions you should really abide to. Just get to talking. Start off with small talk openers like where did you go to school? Where do you work? Do you like this and that? Eventually you'll get around to talking about hobbies, experiences. You can tater off and then talk about your own experiences and just ping pong off of each other. Eventually you get a pretty good feel of that person as genuine or fake. That's how most conversations start sounding natural with a good flow. Of course, if you get somebody that sees you and finds you but ugly, then you won't get any responses at all, and any questions you ask would lead to no information about them. What was your first pet's name? What was your second grade teacher's name? What was the make and model of your first car? What is the name of the road you grew up on? What city were you born in? Then read all their emails and DMs. Good way to get to know someone. What do you like doing in your free time? I never asked about people's jobs. I didn't really care how they got their money. I cared how they got their excitement and passion. What are some good first date questions to get to know someone? Ask them who their favorite Muppet is. If they choose anyone other than Gonzo, explain why they are wrong and then leave. Lots of hypothetical situation questions. I find they help you understand how they think and prioritize their lives. E.g., if you could travel anywhere in the world for W month, all expenses paid, where would you go? What would you do? Fun, open-ended questions that lets them talk about them a bit. Stuff like, what are your political leanings? Are you religious? What is your stance on the Armenian genocide? Why don't you put away your phone? Does this look infected? Your parents are about to be executed. You are given a chance to save only one of them. Which one do you choose? Bonus points if you follow up with what's your favorite ice cream flavor? What unresolved childhood trauma will emerge through maladaptive behaviors as we spend more time together? I don't know if it's good for a date, but it's fun to ask strangers, what's your favorite compliment? It gives you a lot of information and I think it starts a conversation pretty easily. How many walkers have you killed? How many people have you killed? Why? I like your dress. Does it have pockets? Can anyone give an answer on how to get a first date? Let's not put the cart before the horse. Do you use Reddit? If they say no, you can safely say something like, "Oh, okay," and change the subject. But if they say yes, then you need to get up and walk away. Edit. My new top Reddit comment is basically a repost of my own comment on essentially the same question. You got STDs? Thanks for silver. What's your name? Who's your daddy? Is he rich? Is he rich, like me? Have you heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? What's your favorite random fact? What's the most spontaneous thing you've done? What's your worst cooking disaster? What would be the hardest thing for you to live without? Coke or Pepsi, especially if you're serving them. This isn't so much questions, but a little game you can play that can help break the ice and let you know how well you mesh together. If you're at a place like a bar or restaurant, look around the room and try to come up with backstories for other people there. It can be a lot of fun and takes some of the pressure off, while getting you two talking to each other and getting a feel for each other's sense of humor, personality. As you sit over coffee, get beyond the usual, "Nice to meet you." How was traffic? Having a good day. To get the conversation flowing, the next question should always be, so are you aware that you need to put a serious tag on a post if you want to get good answers? Who are you? Who did you choose between Squirtle, Charmander and Bulbasaur? Just get it off the table. Kids or no kids? What is your social security number and date of birth? I'm stung by a jellyfish. You peeing on me? What gives you the right? What are your favorite subreddits? And why are they all furry related? What is your favorite disability? If I called you and told you that I killed my neighbor and I need help getting rid of the body, would you A. accept with no questions asked, B. call the police, C. start your oven and ask how much they weighed? Where were you on 9/11s? What are you in for? What would be their weapon of choice in the apocalypse? On the most recent first date, I went on with a Tinder match. One of us asked which shows we were currently watching and which ones were on a to watch list. That took us down a rabbit hole of conversation about similar shows watched, movie and music tastes, sports, etc. So I think with something as simple and everyday as a TV show, as was in our case, can tell a lot about a person and keep the conversation going. And by the way, I should mention that this Tinder match and I have been together for a year and a half now. What is your spaghetti policy? Question. What kind of bear is best? Do you want to be the lampshade in my living room or bedroom? How likely are you to yell at me in public? 1. Comedian Sam Morrill. What's your favorite PowerPoint slide transition? Shall we go to the bone zone? Are your fingerprints in the police database? In millimeters. How long are your toenails before you decide to cut them? Do you keep the remains? Do you have any pets you aren't using anymore? How do you feel about basements? Which bodily fluid do you think has the most pleasant aroma? Which layer of skin do you favor the most? My cat died 6 years ago. Wanna see? Does this rag smell like chloroform? I read a LPT earlier today that stated if you're taking someone on a dinner/movie date, go to the movie first. That way, at dinner, if the conversation is lacking or having a hard time starting up, you can get it going with talking about the movie. Seems easy enough to get a conversation flowing, especially if you're feeling nervous. Good luck. Should have put the serious tag in here, fella. You like jazz? What do you do with your shopping cart when finished at the grocery store?